Hello Unite, on to the next lesson. Today we're looking at the shape of a distribution. Let's read through it. A statistical distribution is the way the scores of a data set are arranged, especially when graphed, like here. When looking at histograms, dot plots, and stem leaf plots, an overall pattern can be seen from the shape of the display. The shape of a statistical distribution shows how the data is spread and can be seen by drawing a curve over the graph or display. A distribution is symmetrical, like here, if the data is evenly spread or balanced about the center. You can see this one here, there's a peak here in the middle, and it's pretty even on each side, and the curve also shows that how it looks quite uniform. Same with this one here, it's on the side, but you can see it's also quite uniform going towards the top. So both of these, as it says here, are symmetrical in shape. A distribution is skewed if most of the data is bunched or clustered at one end of a distribution and the other end has a tail, as shown in this dot plot and a figures histogram below. I would like you to actually jot these down, please. People commonly forget which one's positive and which one's negative. So you can see there's two pretty much types of this. There's if the bump is towards the left, it's positive. If the bump is towards the right, it's negative, as you can see in these two examples here. So pretty much what that means, if there's more lower scores, it's positively skewed. If there's more higher scores, it's negatively skewed. And the part where there's less scores is your tail as well. So more scores, less scores, less scores. Positive, negative. A distribution is bimodal if it has two peaks. The higher peak is the mode, while the other peak indicates another score that has a high frequency. So for example, this one just here, it has peaks at 2 and 6, so it's bimodal. Now if you were to draw the curve on top, you'd see it has two peaks, but obviously this one's a little bit higher still, so mode is 6. In a normal or symmetrical distribution, the mean, median, and mode are at the center, like this one just here. So this one is symmetrical. In skewed distributions, the mean, median, and mode are separated. If the distribution is skewed, quoting the mean may give a false impression. So the average or the mean can be affected if it's not centralized. Remember the two types, positive and negative skewedness. Whereas this one is symmetrical, which means it's not skewed. All right, here are some examples. Question 1, II and A and B. So question A, for each type, describe the shape and identify any outliers or clusters. So, okay, so describe the shape. So let's draw a little curve on top. Okay, so there's a cluster or there's a bump towards the right or left. It's the right, which means this one is negatively skewed. Remember two types. Then part II, identify any clusters and outliers. Well, there's a bit of a gap here, so we can argue that 10's an outlier. So 10 is an outlier. And then the clustering. Well, if we look around 16 and 17, there's heaps of scores here. So I would say clustering around the 16 and 17 range. So clustering around 16 and 17. Okay, that's part A. Now try part B yourselves. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so let's just draw a little curve on top. So like this. Now, is the bump towards the left or the right? This time it's on the left, so it's going to be positively skewed. So part I, positively skewed. Part 2, clustering. Well, firstly, actually outliers. Any outliers, any gaps? No, so no outliers. And clustering, where you can see there's heaps of scores around the 40s and 50s, just here. So clustering in the 40s and 50s. Okay. All right, just one more question. This time we are matching A, B, and C to each of these. So they're all slightly different, and they all match to one each. Now B, if these are all the same, it's symmetrical, which means it must be this one here. So I'm going to write B next to this one, and this one's now gone. Now pause and have a think, where do A and C go? Okay, well part A has a bigger mode. Now remember, mode is the most common score, which would be a peak on your graph. So the one with a peak at the higher point is this one, which means this one must be A. And this one obviously must be C. All right, and here's a little summary here as well of the different types. So symmetrical, and these ones are both skewed. Positively skewed, negatively skewed. So remember, peak with lower scores is positive skewness. Peak with higher scores is negative skewness. All right, so here's some questions here to work on. 903. Again, as always, keep an eye on Google Classroom, and I'll see you on my next video.